You can hang this on your wall? What? This is the new upgraded version of the open air and wall mountable P3 TG. Another build we have some history with. It includes like modernized I/O, a redesigned base, and improvements to their main motherboard area that provides for some awesome cooling options. It also comes completely unassembled, so it's like Lego on top of Lego. Now, as of the filming, it costs $159 for the black on Newegg or $149 for the white. And it has a 3-year warranty. Now, before we get too far into what you can put inside of it, let's start with how you set it up, because it has 3 orientations. You have like this wall-mounted version, meaning that there's essentially no base on the bottom. You can take off the glass and the pegs, and it just can hang up there. Like just right there, just hanging on the wall. There's also the vertical version, which is kind of what you see here. And you have what's called horizontal place, which is more like a bench or like an old school desktop. So let's talk a little bit about the size of this bad boy. 535 millimeters by 268 millimeters by 500 millimeters. Now that can be dependent on whether it's on your wall or laying down, depending on the orientation there. But again, those dimensions fit no matter how you put it. Now it weighs 12.5 kilograms, or for those of us over here in the United States, a little over 27 pounds. You've got one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, you've got 2 USB 3 Type-A ports, 1 headphone, and 1 microphone. That seems pretty standard nowadays, but there you go, redesigned for you. Let's talk about what you can actually put inside of this PC. For motherboards, up to eATX. Though, if you're looking here on the side, that rubber grommet, if you do ATX, it's gonna cover it, so I would recommend ATX. Now for CPU coolers, you can go up to 180 millimeters. Now for PSU down here at the bottom, you can do up to 200 millimeters. You can actually fit any GPU up to 450 millimeters in length. Oh, and you can do it in both horizontal and vertical position with no issue. But understand that this case in its current form does not come with a riser cable. Given that this is a bit of a custom case, you do have 2 ways to put in the fans and the radiators. This is removable, and you can either have it here in the front or you can mount it up here at the top. So you do have those options. This is actually a 420 millimeter AIO, and it's recessed inside, which is causing no obstruction here with the GPU. So that's how they're getting longer GPUs. So that's actually really nice. So let's start with the bracket at the front like you see here. For fans, you can do 340 millimeter, which I think in this case I really wish I would have. For radiators, you can do any combination, 360, 280, etc., all the way up to 420, both in the front and also in the back. Now, if you want to do top mounting, it's a similar story. Instead of 3140s being at the front, they're now at the top. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying this, and you enjoy these kind of build videos and the way that we do this stuff, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It's much appreciated, and turn on those notifications, because that's the only way you're gonna see more videos like this. Anyway, time for a sexy montage. Let's talk about the build experience and just a little bit more about the use of this. Remember, this case comes completely disassembled. I will tell you, Thermaltake's instructions, not entirely the clearest. There was definitely some figuring things out, like what screws you're supposed to use in certain places. They could totally take a page out of Fractal and actually make it a whole lot better. So Thermaltake, if you're watching this, why don't you look at Fractal's instruction books and just make it a little bit more clear. I feel like cheaping out in that area just adds to the frustration, but once you actually do get it built, it's actually pretty straightforward. In fact, the open air nature of this is actually really nice. But let me show you the cable management area here. You can actually see the VESA mount here. One thing that's really nice is this right here is allowing you to hide a lot of your cables, which is actually pretty cool. So we actually have quite a few tucked in here, so the back can look just as pretty as the front. And this plate right here is actually really nice in terms of mounting your little add-on boxes. So if you do Lee & Lee Unifans or whatever it was, you're actually good to go. You don't worry about cable management? You don't have to. You can just put this on, and you got plenty of room to fudge it and just make the front look better if you want to. Now, you can see that GPU, like the Tough here, fits with no issue whatsoever. Probably an additional almost ½ an inch of clearance. So if you wanted to add like an even thicker rad and still get a lot of GPU clearance, that is absolutely possible. I am stoked to test this. Now, this is a 13900K inside of a system with a 420mm AIO. It's coming in at $4,200. It's a Core i9 13900K. We've got the Corsair H170i Elite Capellix 420mm AIO. We've got the Asus ROG Maximus Z790 Hero. We've got 32 gigs of Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB DDR5 RAM at 6000 MHz. We've got 2 TB Seagate Firecuda 530 NVMe SSD. We've got the Asus TUF Gaming RTX 7090 Beefy Boy. And finally, we've got that Thermaltake Tough Power GF3 1000 watt PSD. Okay, so let's talk about temps. Let's talk about starting with CPU. In idle in open case, which I guess, wait, I mean, I guess that's kind of all the time. So in idle in case, it's 34. Under load, 84. Under load. That is freaking awesome. Now for the GPU, also in open case, or sorry, in case, it was 35 at idle, and under load, a whopping 57 for a 4090. You can even go with 140s in the front and probably drop that GPU temp even more. I mean, this thing's getting air everywhere. It's very impressive. Wrap this up, Robey. Honestly, there's a lot of potential in this case. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this as much, but the more that I used it and the more that I built in it, the more I can definitely see why people like it. Of course, the look is going to be something that you're going to be either into or not, right? Like open air is a thing and dust is obviously a thing. It's obviously really tricky to get built, and I would definitely recommend going and watching my videos so you can just kind of follow along. But once it's built, it's really easy to build in. And like I said, you can even mount it on your wall if you want to, and people have done that. Even if you wanted to water cool this. Again, tons of potential here with some very, very powerful radiator configurations, and you've got a lot of room to still play with, both in vertical and horizontal orientation. Anyway, guys, that is it for this. I'd love to get your feedback on this case. I mean, again, were you surprised at some of the temps? I mean, 2 420mm AIs. I mean, nobody hears about that. I'd love to see a 7950X system in this as well. Is this a case you're interested in? What are your thoughts on open air cases like this? Do you think immediately dust magnet? And then, you know, I'd love to see, would you love to see a video on cleaning something like this? Let me know all that down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button with that like button and ring that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time we post a video like this. Speaking of that, did you know we have a live stream channel where we build all this stuff? I mean, again, we referenced it, but if you want to see cases first and get to watch them end to end, you should join us over at Robeytech, youtube.com/Robeytech Live. We build every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Also, you should join our Discord server if you have more questions about this or want to just talk a little bit about performance or any other like PC questions or tech or whatever it was. It's over at discord.gg/Robeytech. There's literally tens of thousands of people there who love to talk about these very subjects. You know what? You might actually make a friend. We're making content for all of these channels all the time, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. We're Robeytech everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, we're there, and you should definitely check it out. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved making it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.